All right, well, welcome everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the call tonight, and thank you for taking the time to join us. Rachel and I are so excited that you're on this call, ready to learn about this revolutionary phototherapy technology modality that we were just introduced to about 14 months ago now. I am Beth Blackmore. I'm a health and empowerment coach, having gone through my own health journey about 6 years ago when I started to make significant changes with my food choices, my lifestyle habits, resulting in a 60-pound weight loss. And so little did I know at the time, that was really the beginning of my conscious awakening. I ended up walking away from my government career in HR, my government pension, due to the lack of medical freedom, to pursue my passion in helping people take control of their health. I consider myself a lifelong learner, open to new information and embracing change. And so, about a year and a half ago, I was starting to learn about the whole realm of quantum biology, circadian rhythm, harnessing the power of light. Thanks to my friend Rachel here, I started changing up my light environment, getting up with the sun, eating within an hour of waking, grounding in nature. So when our friend Diane Hunt reached out to me about a light patch, I finally took a closer look. I invited Rachel on a call last May, and we were both blown away by the science, the company LifeWave, and the life-changing testimonials. I signed up pretty much on the spot, pretty much right away, and I did what any good daughter would do. I patched my mom. She had been experiencing knee pain for years, and within a few days, she noticed relief. Her physiotherapist she was seeing 3 times a week noticed more mobility, less inflammation. She wondered what she was doing differently, and the only thing that had changed was this light patch that her daughter put on her. But it didn't stop there. She started sleeping better, had more energy. She got back to the things that she loved doing, which was walking and gardening and swimming. And for me, the first thing I noticed, I was able to finally sleep through the night, having vivid dreams, which is unheard of for me. I also used to have this lower back compression pain that I had dealt with for years. That eased up within about a week of patching. I no longer experience this at all. I'm not going to my chiropractor. My energy, my mental clarity, my focus have all improved, which is helping me to keep up with everything on my plate. And what lights me up is that I know that the best is yet to come. My body is healing, repairing, and age reversing. There's also an incredibly exciting financial opportunity with the trajectory of this company. So, more on that a little bit later. And before we hear some powerful testimonials to kick off the call tonight, I'd like to invite my good friend and co host, Rachel Maurice, to introduce herself and share her inspiring journey with you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time to spend with us. As I say on a regular basis, time is our most precious commodity. So I truly do value you taking the time and being here. So myself, I worked as an anesthesiologist in Canada for close to 20 years. I left in the fall of 2021. I didn't think that I would be gone for very long, but as it stands, that was the end of that part of my career. And what was happening for me was because I was no longer working, I had a lot of more time on my hands, although I do have 2 kids, but I started doing a lot more research on things that were not making sense to me and uncovering a lot of things that I had learned that were incomplete, which led me to learning, as Beth mentioned, about quantum biology, which is really how we are meant to understand how the body works. And while the modern medical model is really focuses on biochemistry and using pharmaceuticals and surgery, the real driver of our physiology is actually upstream. So all of the biochemistry is driven by light. And that was very, I was going to say enlightening, no pun intended, but yeah, it kind of pulled out the rug from under me in terms of everything I had learned. While it was disturbing at the beginning, it became very exciting because we could do a lot of things to improve our health with some very simple lifestyle changes. Not easy because of our modern world, but I started learning all about light and all of the different tools that we can use and harness the free stuff given outside. And what ended up happening was, because there are so many different modalities in this world today, I ended up coming across these patches in this space of phototherapy. And I didn't really investigate too much at the beginning. A year went by, and someone else who I knew I saw some real changes in my friend, and I said, what have you been doing? And she said she was starting on these patches. And so that's when I really decided I had to investigate further. And it just so happened that I couldn't end up trying the patches through her. I ended up getting through Beth, connected with Diane. And it was very fortuitous because that exact timing was such that my mom's health was starting to decline significantly to the point where her doctors were talking about heart surgery. So my mom she's almost 84. She has multiple medical issues. The biggest one of the concern for me was the heart. And coming from 30 years in the operating room, I wanted her to avoid surgery at all costs, just because of the nature of invasive intervention. And Diane happened to be a cardiac surgical nurse for 20 years. So for me, it was very valuable to hear stories that she was saying, but not just stories, actual investigations that she was showing me of people who had been using the patches for 8, 10, 12 months, actually going from severe heart failure to no longer being in heart failure. Now, that is not something that happens that I'd seen in my 30-year career. It's not something that she had seen in her 20 years in the operating room, in the heart surgical suite specifically, without any kind of mechanical tool that would be inserted. So that it became a no-brainer for me to get my mom started. And I wasn't just going to let her be the guinea pig. So I was using them as well. And I prepared her because, family's family, but very impatient, and we're conditioned to want things to happen quickly. I prepared her to give it a year, that she had to really just let it go, and the body takes time to heal, despite what we hear. And so I was extremely shocked that after 2 weeks, we walk on a regular basis, that she went from having to stop every 2 to 3 steps to catch her breath to walking for blocks. And I couldn't understand from my old model of thinking how this could work, but I understand from an energetic standpoint and this new light piece how it does work. But not only that, after 3 weeks, she had to have her thyroid medication lowered that she had been on for over 3 decades. She started to have more energy, better sleep, and other things started resolving, to the point where when she would see her friends and her friends' husband would actually ask her what she was doing. And one of her friends' husbands said, well, I don't know, whatever you're doing, I need it. And he started on the patches. He's in his 80s as well. And within 2 months, after 8, 9 weeks, he was no longer needing his reading glasses. And I just started sharing this with so many people around me, because it was the technology is such that there's nothing entering the body, which we're going to get into, but there was absolutely no downside, no contraindications, no medication interactions. And so many people around me were suffering with so many different issues that they weren't getting relief from, that I started sharing and seeing absolute miracles all around me. And I can share afterwards what I was going through, but I know we have some people on here who are wanting to share their testimonials, so we'll get to them before me.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so I would love to call on, I saw Curtis jump on the call. If you can unmute your microphone and share your testimonial with us tonight, it'd be great.
Okay. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hey, Curtis.
Hey, Rachel. So what do you want me to do? Just tell tell how I've been feeling, and I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you want to hear?
what you expect, because you messaged me pretty excited.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's like one of these things where, how do you know? Like, how do I know that it's working? All I can do is sort of deduce, like look at my life and the things that I've done and I'm doing, and go, okay, what's different about now and then? So nothing has changed in my diet significantly. It's more or less the same. You could arguably say my diet is worse because I no longer have my wife. So she used to cook for us, ridiculous, amazing meals every night. So I could say that I'm probably not as the best I've been regarding there, but I'm in this better, I feel better, like it's crazy. So You know, I have a fairly healthy lifestyle. I get lots of exercise. I live on a homestead off grid. You know, I drink clean water. I have clean food. I grow most of our own vegetables and fruit and things like that. But I've had that for quite a long time. And but I started using the patches. Well, when did we start? When did we start, Rachel? Was it March or no? Was it February even?
I think it was February.
I think it was February. So I started doing it with my wife. Um, and yeah, I mean, my energy level is insane. I'm 45. I can't remember feeling this energetic before 35, really. I feel like I'm younger than 35. Um, I have just long staying energy. And I use the X39 on the back of my neck. I have it right now, and I have the Eon on my foot. And I'll probably get the X49 eventually too. I still have all these patches that I had for my wife that I don't really use either. A lot of different ones for pain and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I have crazy energy and focus, and but yeah, nothing's really changed for me. Arguably, it's maybe not as good. But I mean, I've always been a high energy guy, but I am getting older. And I had noticed that, you know, before I started doing the patches, that I guess you could say I was feeling my age. You know, I just didn't have um, the energy that I did when I was in my 30s. And I have two kids that are 8 and 5. And so keeping up with them requires quite a bit of energy. I still work, you know, I work a few hours a day, 4 hours a day, and then I work on the homestead and I do a bunch of other things. And so I'm able to do all of those things. I'll make dinner for the kids. We'll play music and sing songs together for at least an hour a day. And sometimes we're having dance parties in the kitchen, and I'm playing funk music and dancing with my kids. I have that much fucking energy. It's crazy. And so I again, how do I know it's the patches? I don't 100%, but I don't know what else is different. I'm not, you know, drinking a special kind of coffee. I'm not taking any type of other supplements. I don't take supplements. Um, and so, yeah, it's crazy. And I'm, you know, I'm probably, you know, I lost my wife in March, and so I've been through the fucking ringer, I guess you could say, emotionally and spiritually, with my kids. But overall, we're doing good in terms of grief and all that. But yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here just going like, how do I have so much energy every day? Like right until the time I go to sleep, I have energy. I sleep well, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you for sharing, Curtis. And I just want to say how sorry I am for your loss. We are going to get into tonight, though, why you're having so much energy. And so we're going to talk about the science behind these patches and, you know, what people can experience, because this is not abnormal. This is normal that people actually gain more energy, sleep better at night as well. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. I'd love to call on Anne Louise, if you can unmute yourself and share your story.
Hi guys, I can. Hello, hello.
Awesome.
I'm also a friend of Rachel's, old elementary school, a little bit older than Curtis. We're 54, but I started seeing Rachel posting some videos about her dog, and that's what actually triggered me into purchasing, because I have a very anxious dog, and she was putting it on her dog collar, and I thought, well, let's do that, and why not work for, you know, if it works for a dog, possibly something could happen to me. Now, I hadn't slept, and for 30 years, I even probably longer than that. I've slept maybe every hour. I would see the clock every hour. And so the first thing I noticed within around 6 weeks, it wasn't a one patch wonder, but around 6 weeks, all of a sudden I started getting 2 to 3 hour hunks, which was miraculous. I hadn't done that in decades. Um, Now it's been around 8 months, and now I'm sleeping every night 6 to 8 hours without fail. So that's the first thing. I've written them down because there's quite a few things. Uh, then I've had frozen shoulder. So I've had two surgeries on my shoulder, and it's gone. One of the surgeries worked, but the other one, I always had constant pain. At least 3 or 4 times a year, it would be in the frozen state and be extremely painful with many, many, many painkillers to try to calm it down. It's gone. I haven't had an attack since I've started. I also have arthritis in my hips and fingers, but my hips, because I am a fitness professional, a recreation director, but I teach 9 spin classes a week. And so I was really over usage of those hips. Again, gone. The pain, I had a constant pain at all times. I could still teach my classes, but I always hurt. That is gone. But the big one that I've always wanted is I was diagnosed with SIBO. It's a form of IBS, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So I've had gut issues for years. I've spent thousands on doctors and tests trying to calm my stomach down. And I truly believe that now that I'm sleeping, the inflammation, my brain's calming down. I'm not going to say it's cured because it obviously stomach issues are stomach issues, but everything is working well. It has been the biggest improvement that I've had trying every other kind of modality. So, which is a game changer. The other two things I wanted to point out, though, I just got back from a really great trip in Europe, and just before I went, I have very sensitive gums in my mouth. I've had receding gum lines. I've had that operation where they put cadaver gum on my gut, sewn into my mouth. And I haven't had an electric tool in my mouth for at least 5, 6 years because of it. And just before I left on the trip, I had a cleaning, and the dental hygienist was cleaning my teeth, and all of a sudden realized that she was using an electric tool. It was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Anne Louise, I got to stop." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 you don't have to. It actually doesn't hurt anymore." And she was like, "What? What are you talking about?" I said, "It's this patch I'm wearing. I swear to God." So that was a major bonus. And then just last week, I did 23andMe. As I said, I do a lot of research and stuff. So I did 23andMe like 5, 6, 7 years ago and found out that I had 2 markers, and one of them was immacular degeneration. And so because of that, we've been watching my eyes, and every year, and I had 5 little freckles behind one of my eyes. So every year they're just watching them to see what's going on. And this last week when I went, the doctor, the whatever they're called, optimal, whatever, asked me, he's like, "This is bizarre." He's like, you have 2 spots left. There's 3 that have disappeared." And I started kind of laughing, going like, thinking to myself, and they probably will all go away eventually, but like unheard of. He was just like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Oh, little thing called phototherapy." So it makes me smile now. So that's my personal story. I did ask my husband, because of course I patched him up as well. I can tell you he stopped snoring within the first week. That was the biggest thing. But he also kind of complaining his nails and hair. He has to cut his nails and hair constantly because they're growing so quickly. So those are his 3 big things. He also, he's a lot nicer. So I don't know. I think that's also calmed down, but that is my personal story and his, and that's what I'm sharing with you all.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing tonight. Check,
You're
check,
welcome.
check. You're like age reversing in so many different areas. And I'm sure you weren't even thinking about all those other things, at first when you started patching. So this is what's so exciting, because you never know what it's going to do for people. So
100%.
thanks so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right. And I think we have Katie on the call tonight.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Great.
Good. Yeah, and similar, it's funny, Rachel and Anne-Louise and I have known each other for many, many years, and I also got interested because I saw Rachel posting about her mom and thyroid issues because I have long suffered from Hashimoto's disease. So I had like debilitating thyroid where I was just so exhausted and my numbers were ridiculously out of whack. And so that was the reason that I got interested. So I joined about a year ago and started noticing things like hair growth and eyebrows growing back and fingernails. I mean, my hair is the longest it's been in probably 15 years. And so I have had to reduce my thyroid medication by half, which is huge for me because when I found out that I had thyroid disease, I was devastated thinking that I would have to take pills for the rest of my life. And so my goal is to get to the point where I don't have to be taking it anymore. Um, and then energy levels, just same thing, like just I've never had energy the way I do have now. And then a lot of the similar things to what you said, Anne-Louise. I started my husband on the patch probably a month and a half ago. And both of us were snorers. And I can't speak to whether or not I snore because I don't hear myself snore, but he has stopped snoring pretty much instantly. Like within, I think, 3 or 4 days, he had stopped snoring. So that was, and it wasn't even something that disturbed me when I slept, but I know, snoring disturbs the person who is, or, it disturbs their sleep. So I was very excited because he has a stressful, strenuous job and I wanted him to feel well rested. And he was not really a believer in, and I don't, I hate to say that because how can you not believe when there's evidence to support it? But the other thing that really resonated with me with what you said, Anne-Louise, was about the dog because I have a very, very anxious Dane, and they're notoriously anxious, but he's had a lot of health issues in his young life. So I started putting the patches on him after he was attacked about 3 or 4 months ago. And the wound healing was like incredible. Like I could not believe how fast he had to have quite major surgery, and the wounds were healing within days. Like the vet was just astounded. But as well, since he's been using them, which is probably going on about 4 or 5 months now, his anxiety is, I'm not going to say it's gone because I don't know that he will ever be free from anxiety, but the thing that would set him off before was bicycles or anything on wheels other than cars, unfortunately, but terrified by anything on wheels. And I was at the park the other day and a family came riding up with all on bikes. And I thought, oh my goodness, like here we go, I'm going to get dragged. And he stood there, just stock still, did not move. And I was just blown away by this because it's so terrible to see an animal suffering so badly from anxiety where you can't even take them out of the house. And I love dogs and I love running more than anything. And the whole reason I got the dog was because I wanted somebody to run with. And he couldn't do that with me, and now he can. So besides all of the, and when people say to me, "Oh, your hair looks really good," or "Wow, I haven't seen it that long for a while," I always think to myself, if that's what's going on the outside, what must be going on the inside? I mean, I know about the thyroid, but it's all the things that you can't see that I'm excited about, like feeling like I'm healing. So yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks so much for sharing, Katie. And I know I've heard so many testimonials about thyroid functioning improving. I mean, that's definitely a major one. And the fact that you're helping your fur baby as well, I love it. And so we're going to get into that too, and why this can help anybody or anything that is emitting infrared light, infrared heat. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But thank you for sharing. Mary, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and share your powerful testimonial tonight.
I'm here. I might be a little red-faced because I just played volleyball for an hour. So, but even that is what part of my story because I just play a recreational league. I played varsity in university, so I have been kind of fit all my life, and I went through a stage in life where for last year, actually, the full year, I was off work. And I was actually looking at going on disability because I could not get myself together enough to feed my kids and work a day and keep bills covered. My brain fog was so intense and I couldn't climb a set of stairs without resting in the middle. My feet were swelled up that I looked like I had congestive heart failure. Did you put pictures in here, Beth?
Oh, I have them. I have your feet primed and ready to go. Yeah.
So I lived for like probably a year and a half, almost 2 years, looking like I had congestive heart failure with my feet swelled up like that. And I was tested up, down, and sideways. I was having heart palpitations, as I say, fatigue. I was taking sometimes multiple naps a day. And brain fog was intense, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me, but there was definitively something wrong. On November 26th, I found some patches that a friend had sent me that were sitting in my cupboard for 2 years because I couldn't afford them. And I decided, well, I'll put this on and see what it does. And within 12 hours, the second picture of my feet there is a few more patches later, but within 12 hours, like 70% of the inflammation was gone out of my feet. And then it took off from there. So it was a roller coaster the first month because I only had about 10 patches to wear. And and I didn't know how to use them. So I'd wear one for like 24 or 36 hours, kind of until it fell off. And I was great. And then I'd crash again. So after patching consistently, starting in January, I've had just incredible results. I can't say enough about it. I'll just kind of list them off quickly. So my need for coffee is 0. I have it for a treat once in a while, but that's it. My sugar cravings basically went away. My brain fog is continually clearing more. Just in the past month, I notice I'm having creative ideas popping into my head, even more than what I used to have. And I had lost that. Like, it's so fun to have ideas pop in my head of solving problems and just doing fun stuff. My joints feel better than they did 20 years ago. Like my knees, I wrecked them playing volleyball and they're clear. I can sit in a squat and get up and I'm not cracking and clicking and stuck down on the ground. Low back pain is gone. What else? I can move again. So it's a gift to be able to move because I was in this cycle of I couldn't even exercise because I felt so terrible. And then you downward spiral from there. So I'm regaining some muscle and just feeling better than 20 years ago, as I say. But my biggest gift is mental health wise. I didn't realize that I'd lost the ability to be happy. And I was so much on survival mode for so many years and so burned out that I had lost the ability to be happy. And I didn't even realize that until just a few patches in, I was like laughing and finding joy in the moment and, joking around with my kids. And it felt foreign to me because I hadn't been that person for like at least 2-3 years. And so that's my biggest gift. I could talk about my cats too, that I feel like both of my cats' lives have been saved with the patches. And that'll be a story for another day, but
That's amazing.
that's where
Thank
I'm
you
at.
so much. Your testimony is so powerful, Mary, and I love hearing about it. And I know it's helped with the other family members too, and your
Yeah.
daughter and your cat. So and I know clients too are experiencing amazing
Yeah.
benefits that you have shared this with. So I'm so incredibly happy for you and so grateful that you're able to share it tonight.
Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to share my screen now, and we are going to get into the more formal part of this presentation. So I would love if you're able to, okay, so there's Mary's feet. We're gonna move on here and find out why Mary's feet are no longer swollen and why there's so many powerful testimonials tonight. So who is ready to learn how this little patch activates your body's own healing mechanism? And this is not just any patch. What makes this patch so unique is that it supports your own body's natural healing ability by using your own light. And I should state that LifeWave products, they are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. This is not a medical device that requires FDA approval. This patch is actually FDA recognized as a general wellness product. All right, so this is fascinating, and this is really going to set the groundwork for how this all works. So as we age, we lose healthy stem cells, and these healthy stem cells are the healing and the repair mechanisms that our bodies rely on. So our stem cells actually go dormant. So by the age of 30, healthy stem cells decrease by 60%. By 60 years old, those healthy stem cells decrease by 90%. And so not only is this natural aging process contributing to the decline in our health, but unfortunately, this world we live in, the modern age of convenience, consumerism, we are all inundated with toxins, chemicals in the air, in the water, in the food, in the man-made synthetic radiation that's beaming on me right now. All of this leads to cellular dysfunction, and our bodies require healthy, active stem cells to heal and repair the body. And these stem cells, they are the baby cells that replace the old dying cells. They actually become your heart cells, your lung cells, your liver cells, your hair cells, and even your brain cells. And who doesn't need more brain cells these days? We've all heard of stem cell therapy, right? But it's expensive. People need to travel long distances to get it. It's invasive, it's risky, and it's actually only about 50% effective because they stay local to the injection site. So this is where regenerating your own stem cells becomes exciting, and why this phototherapy patch is such an exciting option. So phototherapy might be a new term or a new concept for you, but healing with light is actually nothing new, and it's actually been around since the dawn of time. The sun is nature's original phototherapy, signaling our bodies to make essential vitamin D and signaling other vital processes in the body. But photobiomodulation is a type of light therapy that uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cells that then boost energy production, promotes healing, reduces inflammation, improves blood flow, and helps with tissue repair. And what's exciting is that it's accessible, it's non-invasive, it's affordable, and it's risk-free. And so what if I told you that these little light patches use this light technology to increase a naturally occurring copper peptide? Well, that is exactly what the X39 patch does. So through the process of photobiomodulation, it stimulates the production of human. So these are our own GHKCU copper peptides. And this is known as the holy grail of age reversal. And note, this is not synthetic, right? This is not you having to take this exogenously. These are your own, naturally occurring. And so just like with stem cells, copper peptide GHKCU also decreases with age. So this copper peptide was actually isolated back in 1973 by Lauren Picard, this PhD and researcher. And so we know the incredible benefits of this peptide. You can actually check out about 50 years of research at pubmed.gov. This is a free online database of medical and scientific research. So some of the incredible benefits of GHKCU, we know that it supports tissue repair and regeneration. So think wound healing, muscle and nerve repair. It boosts collagen and elastin production. It also has multiple anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, anti-pain, and even anti-cancer properties. So GHKCU is known to reset over 4,000 of our genes in our genome. So basically resetting DNA to a younger, healthier state. But here's the clincher. GHKCU reactivates our own dormant stem cells. And it does this through the power of the patch. So LifeWave X39 is a small wearable phototherapy patch about the size of a quarter. It's a patented product using this process of photobiomodulation. So using your body's own infrared heat. We are all light beings. We all emit a low-level infrared light. We are all warm to the touch, right? We can see the heat coming off of us wearing those night vision goggles that you see in the movies. There's nothing on this patch that's going into your skin or into your body. It actually acts like a mirror, reflecting specific light frequencies back into the body, signaling these biological changes at the cellular level. So this patch consists of organic materials such as amino acids, sugar, water, oxygen, and salt that form this crystal lattice structure that reflects these wavelengths of light. The patches are non-transdermal. They are latex-free. They contain no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, so they're safe to use without interfering with any medications. So there are no contraindications because nothing is being absorbed into your skin. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Rachel to walk us through the incredible benefits of this X39 patch.
Beth, and just before I get started, I just want to re-emphasize and repeat again about phototherapy and just how powerful it is. And while it has been around forever because of the sun, or as long as the sun has been around, we have just scientifically given it a term, and it's only been the last couple of decades, if even 3 decades maybe, that we understand the power and have harnessed it in our modern world. And if anyone asks their practitioner or medical doctor about photobiomodulation and they don't know, I would highly recommend you direct them to PubMed because there are over 10,000 studies on this. So it is scientifically documented. It is not something that is fringe or it's not mainstream, but there's over 10,000 studies. So, and I say that because there are people that still come to me saying their doctor says that it's not a real thing. So it is. Our body is run through light. All of our physiologic processes run through light. And as Beth mentioned, vitamin D is something that we're all very familiar with. We're told to go out in the sun, under UVB light, for our bodies to get the signal to make vitamin D. Same with melanin, the tan, the pigment that our cells make when we are out in the sun. So these are something that those are two examples that are relatable to the everyday person. So the benefits of the X39 patch, which we're specifically talking about this particular patch, and these are only some of the benefits. They help with reducing inflammation and pain. And so for those who are not familiar, inflammation is, while it's not the root cause because something causes the inflammation, it is basically at the foundation of almost all chronic diseases. So imagine being able to reduce the inflammation, allowing symptoms to abate, even reversing diseases. As well, pain. There's about 30% of the population walks around with chronic low back pain. That's just back pain. There's a lot of other chronic pain. I know because it's a specialty in anesthesia that people go into. Chronic pain is a very big issue. So imagine being able to reduce that pain. It improves strength, stamina, and energy levels. And while this could be for anyone who is suffering from low strength, stamina, and energy, it's also for someone who wants to take their fitness level to the next level. There are a lot of Olympic athletes and professional sports players who use this patch as well. Improves muscle and bone density. So that's one of the things we know as we age, we lose muscle and bone density. So increasing that allows us to also be able to do more and have better quality of life. Improves mental clarity and reduces stress. And this is a big one, I think, for anyone who, when we interact with family, in particular, older family members, we notice a lot of that mental decline. Even, I don't even want to say older, because I know for myself, at least I got sick in 2020 and my mental clarity took a huge nosedive, and I really could not regain that until I started using these patches. But stress is also something that, as much as we all know, and I say this coming from the modern medical system, we understand stress. A lot of times, stress is given as, oh yeah, don't worry, it's all in your head. There's nothing physical going on. But the stress that we feel actually manifests physically, and it's just not given the due attention that in the medical field. But it actually does cause and manifest physical symptoms. And the last 5 years has just escalated the stress level for everyone in the world. So imagine now being able to reduce that stress level. It will help on all fronts. Balancing hormones and easing anxiety. So again, hormones, at least that's something in my age bracket, a lot of people are struggling with, and it seems to really level a lot of things out. Improves hair growth and skin appearance. Now, these things are like what Katie had mentioned, she noticed these things on the outside, but imagine if that's what's going on the outside, what's really going on the inside. And I want to expand on this just a little bit here, because what this points to is an increase in collagen when we talk about hair, skin, say nails as well. And collagen, as we notice it on the outside aesthetically, but it is actually the most abundant protein in the body. It's about 70% of the protein. And it makes up most of our fascia, our connective tissue, which something that is not very well studied in the traditional medical system. Something I'm learning afterwards is really it is the cytoskeleton. It is what holds everything together. And not just that, it is the super highway communication pathway in the body, because the way collagen is structured is such that there are little water nanotubules in the middle, and light travels through the water network of the body. So this is really a super highway. So collagen is so much more important than we give it credit for. It promotes cellular repair and wound healing. Now, cellular repair, this is, some people might not quite understand what exactly that means, but I would just want to say that, again, in the modern medical model, we've given so many names to different diseases. I think there's over 36,000 names to different issues, but at the basis, at the fundamental level, it's all about cellular dysfunction. So if you can improve cellular function and repair cells at that level, you are able to heal whatever it is you're dealing with. And improving sleep quality, this is another one that is really big, because some people have said, oh, yeah, well, I haven't really noticed much, but my sleep is better. And that was another big one for me as well. I used to wake up at a pin dropping when my kids would come home at anything. Anyone who's a mom or a parent knows, that's one of those things that you're just heightened to. Now I wake up in a panic because I haven't heard my kids come home and they've been home asleep in their room for I don't even know how long. So sleep is when all of the repair, 99% of the repair, takes place in the body. So the quality of your sleep is so, so, so critical. Next slide, please. So long-term results, as Beth mentioned earlier as well, in the first few days, over 4,000 genes begin to reset. So what does that really mean, right? In the early 2000s, there was something done called the Human Genome Project, and they discovered that we have about 20,000 genes in our body, despite making about 140 to 160,000 proteins. So one gene can make a lot more protein than we give it credit for. But 4,000 genes resetting is a huge fraction in that 20,000. And just to give a little more context, I'm sure a lot of people on the call either like red wine or have heard about the benefits of red wine because of that little chemical inside called resveratrol. It's even been bottled, and you can go buy it in a supplement store and pop, resveratrol pills. And the big deal over resveratrol is it resets 2 genes. So this resets over 4,000 genes. So again, what does that really mean? It means when we're younger, we express certain genes more, we express others less, and there's just a nice blend and harmony to how they are expressed. As we age, kind of some are expressed more in a different way and not necessarily in a way that works all in harmony together. So resetting them back to when we were younger allows everything else to work better and communicate better. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced. So what does that mean? That means the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain are actually speaking together, and they're communicating, which means they can communicate effectively to the rest of the body, which is important because the way we express health is through communication. Within 3 months, collagen is increased, which I talked about. And within 6 months, the heart reverses in age. So it's not just the heart, it's the heart and the whole cardiovascular system. That includes the blood vessels and all the capillaries, which the blood is transported to every place in your body. So as David Schmidt says, this is not anti-aging, this is actually age reversal. Next slide. So how do we wear this patch? This is one of the things that I love. There's so many things I love about this technology, but how to wear it. It's so phenomenal because it doesn't interfere with your day. It doesn't take any time out of your day. It doesn't require any effort. It actually requires less effort than brushing your teeth. It's literally like a sticker. You take the backing off, you put it on we can talk about placement after, but this lady has it behind her neck. You put it on your body, you wear it for 12 hours, you go about your day. You don't have to worry about anything interfering with it. And you take it off 12 hours later, and then you can put it on your dog, like many of us have talked about, the next day, or you can throw it away because it's disposable. But then you want to repeat that the next day, and for a minimum of 90 days, because 97% of people see an effect by 90 days. But really, the recommendation is to wear it for a month for every decade that you've been alive on the planet to get full reactivation of your stem cells. But you can also wear it until you resolve whatever issue it is that you have that you're looking to resolve, or you can use it like me, and it is a complete preventative tool for me because after working 30 years in the medical system, I really don't ever want to have to access that. So I am all about prevention. So it depends on your goal. So you you want to make sure you drink plenty of water and electrolytes. So I alluded to this before when I was talking about collagen and how the water light travels through the water network in the body. So this patch uses phototherapy, which is light, the light that we emit, but that light communication needs a water medium for it to travel. So it's extremely important that you drink water as well as electrolytes, because the electrolytes help hold the water in the body. Now, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a powdered electrolyte. I personally like to use things that are a little bit cleaner, such as salt, but an unrefined salt, because that holds all the minerals still. A refined salt has them all stripped away. You want all of those minerals attached. So something like Redmond's real salt, Celtic sea salt, Himalayan salt, just as long as it's unrefined, it helps to hold and draw the water in the body. Also, these patches work through the copper peptide that we've been talking about. So this patch does not increase copper in your body. It uses the copper that is there. So it's important that we have copper in the body. So the ways that we want to make sure that we have, I always suggest food before going to any kind of supplement, and foods that are rich in copper are probably everyone's favorite, organ meats. I'm kidding, but that is the richest in copper, as well as iron and other bioavailable vitamins and minerals. The next would be what are they called? Oysters, seafood. And for those that don't eat any of those, avocados are rich in copper, sunflower seeds, nuts, in particular cashews, and probably everyone's favorite, a little square of dark chocolate. And you just need one square to get the right amount of copper. You don't need to eat the whole bar, although sometimes it's hard to stop, right? All right, next slide, please. So what to expect? Now, this is something, again, that I alluded to or talked about earlier on when I was telling my mom what to expect with the patches. And I told her that she needed to give it time, that I didn't want to hear any complaining before a year that she wasn't feeling anything, because every single person is different. Despite all the studies that are done in medicine, and we have all these big, huge thousands of people studies, and then we generalize and say, okay, well, this worked for this many people, so everyone should be on this medication. It's actually everyone is an N of one, and N is a subject. That's what the term that we use. But we all come with a different set of genetic instructions. We all have been alive on the planet for a different number of years. We all live and have grown up in different environments, whether that is emotional, physical, chemical. We've experienced different amounts of trauma. And so everyone is different what's going on inside their body. And each person's body has a wisdom to know what repair and regeneration needs to take place first. So while you may start the patch and say, oh, I want to resolve, I've got a frozen shoulder, or I've got something wrong with my eyes, or, I'm wearing glasses. That's one thing I'm waiting to reverse is getting rid of my glasses, or I've got pain in my knee, or I've got to go for some kind of surgery. That might not happen in the time frame that you are thinking, or it might not happen first, right? It might take you start the patches and you're not noticing you've got that knee pain. It's still there. It's 3 months later. I said 97% of people see an effect by 90 days. You still have the knee pain at 3 months. You still have it at 4 months. But lo and behold, maybe your hair is growing faster, your skin issues, whether you've got acne, eczema, rosacea, something like that has cleared up. Your spider veins have gone away, maybe, or the fungus in your toenails are clearing up, which is what happened to me. So all these other things that are happening, you just want to take note. And a lot of the time, we don't pay attention to things that aren't bothering us, but they are still something that could be resolving. So you want to write out your wish list of things, that you want resolved. And we do also have a piece of paper that can jog your memory for things. But instead of focusing on the names of diseases, which medicine loves to do, I would just look at things like if you've got brain issues or joint issues or heart issues. That's really how we want to look at it. And what happens is basically alluding also to the fact that things might happen internally before we see the results that we are looking for specifically. What happens is we will often feel tired. Now, the reason for the fatigue is, just to give an example, like a cell phone, people understand Cell phone, if you've got a full battery, you can use anything you want on your cell phone, depending on I guess, the model, but you're going to be able to do anything in stream and maybe do use multiple things at the same time. But the minute you go into like 50% or you go into that low battery mode, you notice, the screensaver is not working, or it goes into dark mode, or you can't stream, or things are taking a lot longer. That's because the battery is being conserved, and it's going to be used for things to keep the phone working. So that is similar to our body. If we are tired, we don't have enough energy, because healing requires an enormous amount of energy. So we don't have enough energy to keep everything working in the body like optimally. So our body says, hey, you know what? You got to slow down. Let's use the energy. We're going to conserve it and use it for healing. So we need you to, maybe not work out today, maybe get a couple more hours of extra sleep so we can do the repair, use the energy for repair. So just honor that. If you feel that, allow yourself to sleep and get the rest. You also want to make sure that you practice proper breathing, which we say deep breathing, but really it's has to do with diaphragmatic breathing, which is how we are supposed to breathe. And the reason for that is we want to maximize the amount of oxygen we get in our body, because oxygen, the final step of where oxygen ends up, is it makes water in the mitochondria. So I talked about water again being extremely important in the body for how light travels and the communication that takes place. And everything is about communication when it comes to health. Next slide. So here we have some real results and some images. And this is actually someone on our team on the left. And you can see that's about a 6-month time period on the left-hand side where there is less hair. And over the 6 months, you can see on the right-hand side, there is a lot more hair growth. And on the right-hand image, this is an image of someone with a curvature of the spine that we've termed scoliosis. And again, this one gets me every time, because this is only 4 weeks of being on these patches. Now it says X39 and Iceway, which is a different patch, which we'll talk about why there are different ones afterwards. But that does not do any of the repair or regeneration. It's strictly for pain relief. So this really, the regeneration and the straightening of the spine is from the support of the X39. And here we have on the left-hand side an image of a woman who has what's called vitiligo. And what that is there are areas of skin where there is depigmentation, where there is not any melanin. And basically the difference here on the left, you can see that she's got that splotchy kind of patchy pattern there. And she tried everything to get rid of the vitiligo, and nothing worked until she used the X39. And while the coloring is different, the importance is there's a nice uniform color to her skin on the right. There aren't any areas of depigmentation. It's a nice uniform color. On the right-hand side, we have an image of, although it might not look like it, it's a knee after a knee replacement. And this is only 2 days after using the patch. And this is significantly rapid wound healing. I spent my whole career in the operating room, so I can tell you this is extremely rapid. And I know one of the ophthalmologists who's also a plastic surgeon, he uses the patches on patients before and after surgery. And he says the wound healing that he sees within 3 weeks after surgery using the patches used to take 3 months. Next slide, please. And here we have a 77-year-old woman who, this is a brain scan, and the details are not important, but what we see on the left-hand side is before she ever used the X39, and the red shows areas of inflammation, and the dark blue is low is basically low acuity. What we want is the green and the light blue, because that is showing us coherence. And again, coherence is when the left brain and the right brain are talking to each other and communicating properly. So in the middle, that is after only 3 weeks of being on the X39. You can see there's no more red, so no more inflammation. There is a little bit more dark blue, so that's a little lower activity. And there's a little bit more green and light blue coming in. But on the right-hand side, we can see that is the third one, which is 6 weeks after using the X39. So it's only 6 weeks. That's not very long. Still no inflammation because there's no red. And there's a lot more of that light blue and green coming in. Again, that is more coherence, which means more communication, and that means more health. So here we have David Schmidt, who is the inventor, owner, CEO. We're going to talk a little bit about him because he's half the reason that I actually love this company. I didn't realize it before I got involved, but listening to him and finding out who he is, he's really the heart and soul. And I think that's an extremely important part of backing up any kind of company or product. He not only he's the scientist, the inventor, the founder, the CEO. He's a brilliant man. This slide is actually old because he now has over 200 patents, and there are over 80 clinical trials done on the patches that he's invented. The company is over 20 years old. I believe it's almost 21 years old now, and it's in over 80 countries in the world. Now, the reason it's 20 years old, you might only be hearing about it now. A lot of us in the holistic space are like, well, why are we only hearing about it now? Well, the company, when he first started out, he started out as an independent contractor, and he began creating emergency survival equipment for the Navy SEALs through the government. Now, that was the first patch that was born, called the Energy Enhancer, so that the Navy SEALs could have extra energy without relying on stimulants and all of the side effects and addictive nature. This was a natural way of increasing energy. Now, after 9/11, he had to veer away from that because the US was only interested in anyone who was making arms. And so through his connections and his network, he ended up being able to trial these patches on the ladies Stanford Olympic swim team in 2002. And 6 out of the 8 swimmers that they were initially trialed on beat their personal records the very first day they used them. They were then used by the Olympic swim team in the 2004 Olympics, and they had to call in the anti-doping team because they were sweeping all of the medals. Of course, nothing was found because nothing was entering the body. It just uses your own light. So he created a bunch of different types of patches from that period until 2019, when the one we've been talking about today, the X39, was released. And that is what has taken the company from a $20 million a year company to over 600 million last year. That's a 3,000% increase in growth. And they are on track for over $1 billion this year. And this is really the X39. It is the only one of its kind. It is patented. So we're 4 years into a 20-year patent. There's nothing else like it on the market. There are other patches one might have heard about, but there is nothing like this patch. And this patch, the X39, is the only one that increases one's own stem cells. So we are, Beth normally does this part, and I'm like, oh, this slide, okay. The direct selling news. I did not know this. Okay. We are.
I can jump in. Yeah. So we've been recognized for the incredible growth that Rachel has talked about. So DSN, Direct Selling News, awarded LifeWave with this award 2 years in a row. So this honors companies with the highest year-over-year revenue growth on the Global 100 list. So companies that are not only scaling their businesses, but setting new benchmarks for the entire industry. So we've received the Bravo Growth Award again for 2 years in a row now, which is a huge accomplishment in the direct selling network marketing space. And there really is no competition out there in the market. There's no competition because, as Rachel just pointed out, that we hold, or the X39 holds, a 20-year patent. There is a 22-page patent that you can refer to, but this one paragraph says it all. Elevates copper peptide, activates stem cells, improvements in strength, stamina, and pain relief. So the patent is on the structure, the material in the patch, where the patch reflects specific frequencies of light back into the body. There are clinical studies that show the significant increase in the production of that copper peptide, GHKCU, that we've talked about, measured by blood samples, urine analysis, other lab analysis. And so in order for David to get a patent, he had to prove that it works. So you can check out the patents, the studies, the powerful testimonials. There are tons and tons of testimonials at this incredible site. So the site referenced in the bottom right corner, this is it, info.com. So again, a great website with videos explaining the technology, David Schmidt being interviewed, doctors being interviewed, and again, powerful testimonials, like ranging from, everything from neurological improvements, sleep improvements, energy, a whole section on children and the powerful testimonials they have experienced as well. So it's exciting to think what this could potentially do for you, for your family, for your loved ones, because maybe they're feeling a whole lot better about themselves, increased confidence because you're finally able to get to the root, your body is healing. Maybe it's returning to a job that you had to quit because of the pain you were in, like our friend Mary was talking about tonight. Maybe you're able to enjoy your life again, thrive, right, instead of merely surviving. Maybe you're able to level up your physical game, hit some new physical goals in the gym. We know that Division I athletes, professional athletes are using this to increase their physical capabilities. Or maybe it's having some financial freedom with the trajectory that this company is on. So just simply sharing with others can allow you to live a life more comfortably, whether it's offsetting the cost of your patches, covering a car payment or another bill, or living abundantly. This is all possible with the power of this patch. So let me share with you how you can get started. LifeWave offers 3 enrollment options. These prices are in US dollars, and for a month's worth of patches, there are 30 patches in this sleeve or this envelope. So first you can enroll as a retail customer paying retail price. We see practitioners in the States set themselves up like this, offering this to their patients. But of course, we promote getting you set up with the wholesale pricing of $99 US for a month's worth. So you have 2 options to set you up. You can sign up as a preferred customer, commit to a monthly subscription, or as a brand partner. So we typically recommend the brand partner option because not only can you take advantage of the wholesale pricing, but you can also secure a spot on the team and can leverage the incredible momentum this company is experiencing by building a business without additional cost. There's no overhead. It's just the cost of your patches. So what we often see is that people begin to experience success with the products. They naturally share them with others. They become a walking billboard. And then they can earn a commission, right, by sharing it. And sometimes they end up building a full-time business. So we have many people on our team, including Rachel and I, that saw the opportunity, and we are building successful businesses. So signing up as a brand partner, there's no pressure to share or build a business, nor is there an additional investment or commitment. As I said, you're just paying for the cost of your personal patches. And so there are several enrollment kits available to get you started. And so the more patches, the more product you purchase upon signing up, the better the value. The cost comes down considerably for your initial order with these enrollment kits. So you can upgrade any time through the enrollment kits, and then you're just paying the difference. You receive the difference in the number of patches. That way you can start sharing them out, right? With friends and family in your life, your aging parents, loan them out to people as they wait for their order to come in. It's really fun to get people started as they wait for their order to come in. And having extra sleeves on hand to set yourself up for success right out of the gate. So it's exciting not only where this company is going, but our team is the #1 team in the whole company. It has incredible leadership, supports, training, systems in place to grow your business. No prior experience or training in sales or networking required. Just look at Rachel and I, but just a passion to help people with the freedom model, health freedom, financial freedom, time freedom. But it all starts with your health. Without health, nothing else matters, right? Health is foundational. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the call tonight. I encourage you to reach out to the person who invited you on the call. They'll guide you and set you up with the best pricing and package available for you. I would love to open it up for questions, and especially for those that are new to this, I want to open it up. I want to have engaging questions and conversations, but for those that are new to this technology. But my closing question for you, I'm going to kick it off. What if investing in your health gave you the greatest return of your life? All right, everybody. So feel free to put your hand up. I'm just going to open up the chat here on my end to see if there's any questions that I may have missed. I know someone was asking for the recording, so that will be posted. Rachel will post on her YouTube. I'm going to post on mine a little bit later once we get it downloaded. But any questions for Rachel and I tonight?
Beth, people are asking how to put their hand up.
Oh, okay. So down in the bottom of the, I mean, you don't have to do that. We'll just go for it. But I mean, the way you can do it is just down in the reaction sign. So when you react, there's a heart there, and you can click on the upper arrow. Is that where you do it? Oh, well, maybe you can't. Okay, that's okay. It's going to be a free for all. So, okay, Marcia, you did it.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
I figure out how to raise my hand. Hi. I actually have a couple questions. What if my gut is very damaged and I can only eat a few foods? None of the foods that you listed on the higher in copper am I able to eat right now? So what happens if you don't have enough copper in your system, or you're doing the patch, not being able to add copper to your diet? Can you still do it?
Well, I mean, you absolutely can. You can still use the patch, but you need copper to make the copper peptide. So if you can't eat the foods, I mean, I would look up, those are just at the top of the list for copper. You can also go see what you can get your copper levels tested with a ceruloplasmin test, not copper, but at least in Canada. And you can always go to supplements. I don't know if I give my kids desiccated organ meats because they're not going to eat any kind of organ. I try to get it in, like a burger, like ground up and stuff, but they're not going near organ meats, but they'll take a desiccated organ meat capsule.
It's not a matter of not wanting to, and I'm willing to eat organ meats. It's that I react to I can only eat like 4 or 5 foods. That's it. So, yeah, and I probably couldn't do supplements.
Okay.
So does that mean try the patch and see it, or no, can't do it?
Well, yeah, I mean, you only eat 5 foods?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What are the foods? Or if you don't,
grass-fed beef, ghee, zucchini, ginger, and lemon.
what you said beef at the beginning?
Yeah, grass-fed beef. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely going to get copper in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Good. I've never
Lisa,
had
did
that
you have
one
any
before.
other questions? No, that was a different one. Lisa, do you have any other questions for us? Any other challenging questions?
I had one. Now I can't. No, I can't. I don't see it. If it comes back to me, I'll speak up.
Sure. Anyone
Thank you.
else want to ask any questions tonight?
Hi, I'm sure I have a million questions. I'm brand new, but totally fascinated by your presentation. I was sent here by Laura Kissman, and I'm looking to join your team.
Fun.
So, yeah, I don't know what my questions really are because I'm new, but I just wanted to introduce myself. I have a fair bit of noise in my background here, so I didn't want.
I remember the question.
Do you? Thank you, Laura. How
Yes.
awesome.
The 2 questions were so she definitely, well, she's got some inflammation issues.
I have a lot of issues.
Yeah, maybe you could tell them a few of the issues, because she was wondering which patches, and then also wondering in signing up, she was looking at core versus advanced, and what the business or the personal volume, why is there an advantage for her to do the advanced versus the core? That was part of it. So maybe, but if you could, Cindy, maybe tell them some of the things you're going through, that would help.
Okay, so I've been off work on medical leave for the past year and a half, waiting for a surgical consult for torn rotator cuffs. I also have degenerative disc disease affecting my lower back and my cervical spine, radiculopathy in all of my limbs, severe sleep apnea, fibromyalgia, all kinds of things. Anyways, inflammation is a big thing. I can't take any anti-inflammatories because I've had gastric bypass surgery as well. So I have a whole bunch of issues, but I'm really, really, really intrigued by these patches. So.
And Cindy's a nurse on disability at the moment, but may have to go back to work in
And that's
disability.
the other thing. I can't see myself going back to work on my feet for 12-hour shifts. So I'm thinking of maybe my own little quantum health business of some sort. So another reason why this is really interesting for me. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome Cindy to the team. And I'm super excited for you because I think this is, I don't know, I just have a great feeling that you're going to experience some amazing benefits from it. You know, and in terms of, yeah, just the different ailments that you've listed, I mean, I know we can likely find a lot of testimonials that, you know, would hit on those issues that you've addressed or that you are experiencing. When it comes to, so unless you have a specific question about, which patches maybe,
Which
I mean,
patch?
yeah, so we want to keep it super simple for everybody. It's X39. Because that's the only one that activates your dormant stem cells. It also reduces inflammation in your body. So yes, there are others that can supplement, but it's really X39. And I would suggest that people, you know, start with that for at least a month, if not 3 months. And I think Rachel touched on the fact that, I mean, David Schmidt talks about how people should be on these patches a month for every decade they are old, you know, so it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. But stick to it in terms of consistency. I think the hardest part about this patch is remembering to put it on and take it off and keep hydrated like that. I mean, but if that's what someone has to do, you know, to get their health back, to get their life back,
Yeah.
you know, and obviously investing in with $99 US a month, I mean, it is an investment in our health. So I'm super excited that you took the plunge and that you're starting this journey and on the team. Then when it comes to, but there is another patch, like I will talk about the Eon patch just for a second, because that is another powerful phototherapy patch that was the most popular before the X39. So David Schmidt has about 11 phototherapy patches. The X39, as I said, is the only one that's patented to increase our copper peptide GHKCU and then activate the dormant stem cells, which really is what helps the body to heal. Now the Eon patch, which is actually a little bit cheaper, $69 US, it is like an anti-inflammatory phototherapy patch. And so some doctors and some people recommend that people pair those two together, especially when they know that they have high degree of inflammation in the body, high inflammatory markers, and if they have, you know, autoimmune disease. However, a lot of people experience amazing benefits just with the X39 alone, and we don't want to overcomplicate it. So yeah, I'm excited for you that you're going to see some amazing results. When it comes to the core, the advanced, the premium. So, you know, when I showed that visual, I mean, the more, so this is upon signing up. This is for enrollment. This is not going forward where you're committing to purchasing 3 sleeves a month, 6 sleeves a month, you know, 20 sleeves a month with the premium pack. This is just to set someone up for success in the business or because they value their money. So, I mean, I have had a couple brand partners that realize that if they purchase the premium pack, they order 20 sleeves, they're getting a reduced price for those 20 sleeves. They're going to be paying $87.50 as opposed to $99 US. They also don't have to commit to a monthly order for 3 months and they're remaining an active brand partner, which is important if they're wanting to do the business because they are accumulating team volume as they're sitting there waiting to share it, waiting potentially for their results. There are new people coming on, and so they're benefiting from the volume on their team leg. So the difference between the core pack and the advanced pack that you were asking. So the core pack, it's $295. So you're paying, you know, close to $99 for each of those 3 sleeves that you're getting with the core pack. With the advanced pack, instead of paying $599 for 6 sleeves, it's reduced in price to $535 for those 6 sleeves. As I said, anyone can upgrade at any time. So if you start with the core package, you get 3 sleeves maybe, a couple months or a month down the road, whenever you're ready and you upgrade, because the quicker you upgrade through the enrollment kits, the more money you end up saving. So you're just paying the difference between the two enrollment kits. So you've already purchased the core, you're upgrading to the advanced kit, so you're getting the remaining 3 sleeves for $240, right? Instead of $299 when you go from the core to the advanced kit, and then you're sent the 3 remaining sleeves. So that's the advantage there. It's definitely, I recommend if someone is wanting to, they value their money, obviously, and they're wanting to, whether they're wanting to do the business or not, the premium is where you're going to save the most money. If you know you're going to be committed, if you know that you're going to be loaning them out, if you know that you're going to be gifting your family with them. It's just the price of it comes down so significantly. And so, but especially those that are doing the business, the quicker that they can upgrade through those enrollment kits, the better.
Great.
But you can do that whenever you want. So just wanted to put that out there.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I have a question.
Hi, Heather. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm new to this, and I think the technology is fascinating, and I'm totally all on board. And I'm wondering, like, I know the patches are patented. However, like, is there a possibility that there's other patches out there that are being sold for a less amount?
Oh, like counterfeit, like in Walmart and Amazon and eBay, and they're selling it with like the LifeWave packaging that comes from China. Yes. So there are counterfeit patches out there that we are not affiliated with. So this is a direct sales company. So those on the shelves at Walmart, those, sold through Amazon and eBay are totally counterfeit, and they are taking legal action. So this is very serious for LifeWave.
Yes.
David Schmidt has talked about this multiple times. So there's legal proceedings going on for sure.
Okay, because I did Google and I did notice that you can get a box for like $30 at Walmart, and I'm like, yeah. So I thought that I would ask, and I didn't want to be the difficult one.
No, this is all good. It's a great question. And the other thing is too, is that the problem is we don't know who's handled the patches and who may have activated it with their own body heat, right? So there is significant parameters and measures that they take in order for us to receive these, through the distribution model, through the warehouse into, the shipping method, that no humans are handling these patches and the way that they're packaged as well. So I just would not trust anything that's not purchased through brand partners with LifeWave.
But one thing to add as an update is, because of all of this that happened, one of the things that David Schmidt did was he actually made a deal with Amazon. Yeah. And so as long as LifeWave is sold on Amazon through the company, nobody else, Amazon won't let anybody else, because you can have your own accounts on Amazon. So Amazon won't let anybody else sell the patches, but then he increased the price. So if you did go through Amazon to purchase them, you'd be paying more. But if you found out afterwards, or if someone else came to you and you found out afterwards someone purchased them on Amazon, you could call the company and then they would switch you over to whoever's team you wanted to be on. They would actually move you. I don't know if you knew that, Beth, but the Amazon, that was something that had come up not long ago. So Amazon, as long as it's through LifeWave, that is now legal, because he wanted to get all the brand partners that were doing that illegally off. So that was one way he did that with Amazon. But again, I think it's 30% more if you go to Amazon to purchase them. And then you're just put on anyone's team. You have no idea what kind of support you're going to get. Or what kind of help or questions answered or anything like that. So the other ones are not legal, the Walmart and eBay.
All right, any other questions tonight? Okay, I don't see any hands up, so I want to thank you again for taking the time to join the call tonight, being open to learning about this unconventional healing modality that we were super lit up about. I want to thank you also for those that shared your powerful testimonials tonight to kick it off. And I would love if you could get back to the person that invited you on the call, and they will set you up with the best package and pricing available. And I hope to see you on this incredible team soon. So have a great night, everybody. This recording will be on our respective YouTube channels, and hope to see you soon. Take care, everybody.